You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
There was an idea. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
This is the Marvel Tribe, brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Bro, that Hulk scene is solid.
Oh.
Thanks, I did that.
Oh, yeah.
That was all my doing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Marvel Tribe. Today we have Skrull Hulk, Blue Knight, and Sam here to digest everything that we've learned and speculate what's to come in Secret Invasion. Let's go, guys.
We can't hear you, Sam. Are you talking? All right, well, I'll start the show here because, all right, all you Marvel fans out there, because nobody can hear Sam
really
talk at all. Wait. She's just running her mouth in the mic and no sound.
Wait, there's no sound?
I mean, so how you doing, Lou? How's everything going with you while Sam fixes her mic?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm
There's nothing wrong with Sam's mic. She just left.
I was trying to keep a straight face, and I'm like, and then you kept selling it. I was like, maybe he's right. I was like, I heard something, but I'm gonna stay out of this one.
No, we're just ribbing Sam. Nothing's wrong with her mic. She did an awesome intro.
Thanks.
So, but anyway, back to you, Lou. How you doing this week?
I am doing excited. I'm excited to talk Secret Invasions. It's getting good. It's getting rough, but overall, I'm excited.
Oh yeah. Sam, the lady who's super gullible from the Midwest.
Listen, I always have mic issues. That's why we always do a mic check. And I just thought for some reason my mic stopped working. It's all good though. I'm okay. I just rewatched episode 3. Super excited to talk about it. So what about you, David? How are you?
You seem kind of glum. Like what? I don't know, something about your face. You just look very sad and
she's
in a dark place. I mean, if the audience can see you, I don't.
You know where they can see me?
Are you okay?
You know where they can see me?
Where's that?
This video of our recording right now is going to be uploaded live to our Walt's Apartment Patreon. So if you want to see the live footage of this show and watch the video of us recording, you can go ahead and join us on Patreon and get access there. And you'll get to see what the boys are talking about with my glum-looking face.
What? So you get to see all of us, including the handsome Hulk, on Patreon. Just join Patreon, and we're right there for you. All right. I like it. That seems like a good deal.
Get your moms to join. Moms love David.
Everyone loves me. I mean, yeah, moms, aunties, grandmas, Skrulls. I mean, I'm just adorbs. So anyway, I gotta say, so me, we didn't have the pleasure of having Sam with us last week. That's life just happens that way. And me and Lou got into it in a good way. We're really kind of theorizing about what's going to take place, what's going to happen. We had our own different theories. And I have to say, quite a bit of our stuff is hitting pay dirt. We're kind of on the right target, the right track frame. We still have a little disagreement on a few things, like, some Fury and his wife stuff, which we'll talk about. But we're kind of slowly merging into the right track. And especially since, we got the actual literal word Super Skrull mentioned in this episode.
I died.
Yes.
I died.
Yeah.
I was like, David has been bringing up Super Skrull since like 2 months ago.
The promo. Yes, before they started doing promos. I'm like, they have to do this. This would be the perfect thing to introduce Super Skrull. So So yeah, let's kick this off and stuff. I mean, this is episode 3. Its title is Betrayed, which there's some betrayal that is happening woven out throughout this episode here. And the first betrayal that we get, the first scene, it opens up with we get Pagan, Beto, the new recruit and stuff, and then Cersei, who are trying to infiltrate the Navy, the British Navy crewmen, so they can kind of carry off this plot that Gravik has, which we later find out is a plan to expose somebody that's in their ranks. So, are we laughing at me? Like, what are we doing?
Lewis is laughing at me. He put a picture of Janice from Mean Girls in the chat and said, "This is what Sam looks like on the tribe tonight."
That's so perfect.
Okay, you guys. But yes, okay. So his plan, his big plan, is to turn scrolls into weapons of mass destruction, essentially, to give them powers. And he's already used it on himself.
Yep. Yeah, and we get to see that and stuff a little bit later, and we'll give you the kind of breakdown of where that actually take place, which was in the diner with Talos. But Gravik, so we see that there's this plan forming to take over a Navy ship and bomb the NATO a delegation plane and stuff, which is definitely going to spark off a world war, because nations are definitely good about egos and saber rattling, and this is the best way to do that. But so while it's this big grandiose plan, Gravik has, he's doing his, Nick Fury Jr. stuff and playing both sides to just kind of get what he's trying to want, which is feather out moles within his ranks and stuff. So Gravik, first it goes to Gravik leading the council that he's now the general of, the Skrull Council, into the secret lab where he reveals his plans and says the magic words, Super Skrulls. Like he's literally about to play. His scientists are playing with DNA from other aliens that have been captured, including parts of alien DNA and stuff that's been found on Earth, including Groot. We got God.
Extremists. Yeah.
Yes, we have Extremists, Obsidian. There's a fourth one. Yes, and the Frost Giant. Frost Beast, sorry. It's called the Frost Beast and stuff. So yeah, so he's, so we saw a little bits of that, what they're trying to experiment with their DNA and stuff, and kind of splicing and making it work. Apparently they got it to work, because we know in this episode that it's revealed that some of those powers, which we got to see Extremists, revealed through Mr. Gravik himself.
And we also got in the trailers that he has, at some point, unless they cut it, but at some point in the show, we will see him with Groot-like tentacles.
Yes. Yeah, they've been hyping that trailer up. That's even when the promo and stuff was happening and stuff. And what got me even thinking about Super Skrulls. And actually, no, sorry, I was calling Super Skrulls before we got our first promo and stuff.
So
just kind of helped.
So wait, are we saying that he had the serum? Like there's Super Skrull serum?
Well, I have almost a concrete theory that happens, because, and actually I'm gonna jump the scene,
because
go ahead.
She was boiling his blood. There was
Gravik?
no. Oh, I know Gravik. I know Gravik has. I thought you guys were saying that Borag or whatever his name is.
No.
Rogan. Okay, never mind.
No, Gravik only. As far as we know, and I think it's actually a good indication, because his spies that was being tortured and everything else wasn't reacting well to that, to being injected with that serum that was boiling their blood. So right now it remains to be that only Gravik, as far as we know, maybe Gaia, but Gravik, as far as we know, has this super scroll serum inside of him and stuff. So when he got shanked, and I'll just cut to that scene when Talos was challenging them in the museum because they had their one-on-one meeting, and he stabs them, and he kind of pulls the knife right through him, and he uses Extremis healing power, and you saw the glow and everything else to put himself back together. Instant regeneration. I'm like, oh, boom, he has a serum. So he's the only one that we know so far has it. I suspect Theory Gaia has it because one, it doesn't make any sense that she is just. Well, we'll get to the doesn't make sense part to me later. All right, so we're kind of going all out of order here. So okay, so Gravik is planning to hijack the Navy sub to blow the UN delegations out of the air. Then we get to a flashback with Fury, where Fury meets Vara, who Vara is the one who introduces Gravik to Fury in the first episode, and we get to see their interaction. And so he's meeting his spy Vara in the diner. And then that's where Vara took on this whole new persona called, named Priscilla, this new spy. So Priscilla, yes, younger, Priscilla. And Nick is definitely fancy for Priscilla. He likes this new scroll look for her. And she's handing him intel on Dracoff, which, for those of you guys who don't know, aren't a nerd like me and watch like every freaking Marvel property there is, Dracoff was in Black Widow. He's actually the head of the Widow groups who converted all of the Black Widows into who they are. His daughter is what is
Taskmaster, right?
Yes, thank you, Taskmaster. So that's the intel, and it fits right around that time frame when Natasha was sent to actually blow up, from intel, blow up Dracoff, and ended up blowing up his daughter instead. And so it was a nice little Easter egg, and it kind of tied that in together. She was operating off of some intel. We now, based off of what we just saw, that intel came from Vara, who gave it to Nick, who Nick, sent out his agent, Natasha, to go handle this and stuff. And so it was kind of a really nice little tied up Easter egg and stuff. So
it's also showing us the gravity that the Skrulls actually had. This whole episode shows us how crucial the Skrulls were to Nick Fury's entire career.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I mean, it's kind of sad because as a Fury fan, it undermines him for you because a lot of the credit, he basically used them as stepping stools, and not in a malicious way. He was giving them a space to reside while he was figuring out the problem. But Talos does not hold back from telling him in this episode is listen, we did all your shit.
Yeah. He publicly benefited from the work that they did in secret. And yeah, there's no denying that. And yes, I have mixed feelings about that because I know comic book Nick Fury is a man of his own. He's incredibly brilliant. He's a master strategist. He's cunning, just like T'Challa and Cap is when it comes to planning and espionage and everything else. So yeah, having this introduced as he also had a network of Skrulls that was really helping him get all that intel and do everything else. One can argue that, it would take someone like Nick Fury to build a network like that and stuff. But also, it really is it tarnishes a little bit of his shine.
But you know what else it tells me? We had all of these espionage Skrulls this entire time. Mm-hmm. Literally anybody in the Avengers could be a Skrull. I'm going with Rhodey, but.
Oh, well, yeah, I think that's obvious.
So I'm thinking Rhodey, Gravik, and Priscilla are the tied to the Avengers right now. Like that is how he had that's how he was able to get the information that he was getting to build the Avengers. Like the Avengers have basically been something that was maneuvered through Skrull control by Rhodey.
See, and I will second that one. I think we talked about the last episode. I think if Rhodey, I hope he's not, because I like the way they're doing Rhodey right now. I hope not. And at the same time, I mentioned the last episode, I would not be surprised if, and we kind of debunked this, but there's only one scene that really debunks it. And right now, and they just did it again in this episode where, I forgot who called him Nick in this episode.
Oh, Talos.
Talos did, but it was to clue him in.
Yeah, that something's going on. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm saying Rhodey's been a Skrull the entire time.
Yeah, and that's
what I said last show, but David kind of debunked it with the one scene, though, where was it Civil War you shared it?
Mm-hmm.
Where,
Captain Marvel, where he was talking about the Nick thing?
No, when Rhodey almost died, though. He would have, like...
Oh, yeah.
Time.
He was on death's doorstep. He wasn't bleeding scroll, purple or green or any of that stuff. Like it was himself. So he would have transformed back into himself to be almost mortally injured the way he was and stuff when Vision shot him out of the sky. So I don't think it was that point. It had been a later time that he got, got captured or whatever. There's a Skrull version that came out. So,
but I think with Talos telling Fury how much the Skrulls have helped them and had to share that, again, kind of really adds some more meat to the bone that we have two Furies running around in this show. And you see it when he talks to Talos in the train and he says, "Tell me something I don't know." But yet in the car scene, Talos is telling him, "Hey, what about this? What about this? What about that?" So I think, and now that I think about it, the first episode, you had Fury technically shoot Maria Hill, but it wasn't that Fury. So they could already be foreshadowing that, hey, it's not impossible for us to throw two Furies in here. And we kind of touched on that before we went live.
We just saw 20 graphics in one diner.
Yep. Sure did.
Yeah, so I'm starting to get the belief that there are two Furies, and that's why we keep – because Rhodey, I feel like, seems way too obvious, especially this early in the season, where if it turns out he's a Skrull, no one – at least for me, and I'm assuming everybody here, we're not like, oh, what? No, we're like, called it. Same with his wife, how we're assuming she's a Skrull. I feel like that's something that if it in the end he doesn't know, that right there it would blow my mind. Like, wait, he didn't know she was a Skrull?
If Nick doesn't know that Vara's a Skrull,
he has to know.
He knows because he calls her Vara.
Yeah.
And Vara is the one who brought him Gravik. He knew her name as Vara. When did he call her Vara? He calls her Vara when he walks into the house.
Yes. So he goes between Vara and Scylla, which is short for Priscilla, the persona she takes over.
It was when he was like, "What do you want? An apology, Vara?"
Mm-hmm. So he knows. He knows.
I don't know. I don't think because that phone call just seemed way too suspicious for him. If he knows and he's on high alert because of Skrulls, and I get what you said this whole time with him playing chess, but again, if so, that I'm going back on the it's not Fury because he's letting way too many moves happen right now that are. I mean, that NATO one almost cost him.
It could be that it is a Skrull invader that is facing as Fury, trying to make sure that Vara's not being a traitor.
Maybe. I mean, they did flush out Gaia.
So I'm going with the scenes we see with Priscilla are Vara and Nick. I think that is the real Nick in those scenes and stuff. I think some of the scenes, like maybe the scenes we see with Talos and Nick, that might be the imposter Nick. I think the scene with Rhodey and Nick, that is the real Nick and stuff. And he is playing. He's playing chess. When Rhodey called him Nick,
are you calling
and said
him
you're
Nick?
fired, Nick. Yeah, I'm saying Nick. I might be a scroll. When Rhodey was calling him Nick, and he didn't react, and like it was that scene. Like he was a very explicit. That's why they even added that piece after into the next episode when Talos called him Nick. That he recognized when people call him Nick, because he doesn't go by Nick. He goes by Fury. Even his mama that calls him Fury. I knew that was a setup saying, okay, Rhodey is a scroll. So that was a real Nick Fury in that interaction. I think it's a real Nick Fury in their action between him and Vara, or him and Priscilla, his wife, so to speak. I just think he doesn't fully trust her. He hasn't been around since the blip. He came back. He went straight up to the sword base, and she's bitter.
She's bitter. He knows Gravik is bitter.
Yeah.
He knows Gaia is bitter. He knows that she's bitter. Like he knows that these people, it's all personal for them.
Yep. So he wants to know what side his wife is on. That's why it's like,
and he straight up asks her. He's like, "Who are you now? Like, what have you been up to? Like, who did you become?"
And she gave him that whole sob. And this is why I say it's a sob story. Like I grieved for you on your pillow and stuff like that. She's done some dirt. She's a spy. She knows manipulation and everything else and stuff. So I think she was feeding him a line, and he had those glasses on too that have all that tech and stuff in it where he can see infrared and everything else. And so when he was like looking at her phone after that mysterious call that she got and stuff, I think he was scanning the phone to see who actually called. I mean, I wouldn't probably pass him to have that technology to not even have to pick up her phone. He can just scan it and figure out who, star 69 through the glasses and stuff.
Before we end the show, because this is at the end, so we'll get there.
Yes,
I want to know I want to know who you guys think she was getting who she was on the phone with at the end. So think about that while we continue talking.
Oh, in the end, I already know that. I know the voice.
You think it's Pagan? Pagan?
No. That she at the very end that she was on the phone. That was Rhodey.
When she wants to talk to, it was Rhodey's voice.
That was 100% Don Cheadle's voice.
I need to go back and re-listen.
Yes, that is Don Cheadle's voice. That's Rhodey.
I don't think that was Don Cheadle though that called her when you don't hear another voice in the house. I don't think that was
that. I don't know who called her
because she went and got a gun. Yeah. I mean, that she obviously didn't know was in there.
Okay, well that makes sense too because I'm saying there's a connection between Priscilla, Rhodey, and Gravik.
Mm-hmm.
But why is she asking for Gravik and Rhodey's the one who's like, no, you're talking to me? Like, so Rhodey's in bed with Gravik.
Yep. Yeah.
Or we didn't see Rhodey on the phone. Yes, it's Rhodey's voice. So we in this show, unless you see physical bodies, you almost have to take it.
No, even if you do see physical bodies, because they can replicate each other's voices.
Ain't none of this shit real right now.
I think we're going full Inception on this.
I hate it here.
Well, I don't think it's that level of layers. I think there's a few onion layers and stuff on here. Did Lou take off?
No, I'm right here. I was gonna adjust.
No worries. So I think there's definitely some onion layers.
Do scrolls have layers? Are they like ogres?
Cakes have layers.
They got layers. They got depth and everything else. In fact, let's jump back into the timeline and stuff because I'm going to expose another layer of the scrolls. So Talos goes into Nick meets up with Talos in the bar. He's eating a traditional English breakfast, and he calls it dog food or something like that. They really make some references about dogs. Like Gravik talks about how dogs are more loyal than humans and everything else. Talos doesn't really understand the species connection between humans and dogs. Like humans run around picking up dog poop. Like it's like you don't pick up our poop. Like it's mind boggling for Talos. Like I don't get your guys' connection and stuff. Like dogs is almost like the theme of the underlying second tier conversation that's being woven throughout this show
and talking about loyalty, how loyal dogs are. Gravik made a case about loyalty. And what was the title of this episode? Betrayal. So for betrayed is it whatever.
Yes. So they meet up and they end up calling Sonia is it Bellsworth? Hellsworth? I already messed up her name. She's the MI6, the European Nick Fury. Fallsworth. She's the MI6 version of Nick Fury in Europe and stuff. And we see her.
A badass.
She is. We see
I love her. I did not like her in the first
office.
episode, but now I love her.
Oh yeah, no, she's a badass. She doesn't flinch. And she's very deadly. Like, she's proven she doesn't have a problem with that. And she even found, I mean, she's smart. She found Nick Fury's eye. And it's kind of funny what she did. She wasn't even mad that Nick Fury bugged her office. She just covered it up with a patch and changed her album's name to Fury. So it's like, as a reminder, saying, haha, I know you got me this time and stuff. But I busted you. I know, so. But yeah, but she's also dealing with her own stuff too. So she's coming at this from a whole other angle, and that part hasn't been fully revealed. Like, we want to think that she's on the side of Nick Fury and trying to help bust out the Skrull invasion secret thing, but I think she's coming from a completely different angle.
I think she's Valentina angle. Yeah,
I'm actually thinking there's some kind of insidious kind of not gray, not insidious. Insidious implicates bad. Gray, like toting the lines of good and bad, like Valentina's kind of doing with her Dark Avenger recruitment stuff. So yeah. So anyway, so they end up going. They find out that there's this where was it? Oh, so Talos gets a phone I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. So Talos confronts Gravik in the museum. Gravik has this grandiose speech about, there's people who just are war profiteers, and they sit behind their cushy desk and they can pose for paintings, and they don't really get their hands dirty. I'm a soldier and a leader. He's like, I'm that. He basically said, I'm that guy. I'm him. That's who I get my hands dirty and I lead stuff and stuff.
I mean, when it's convenient for him, he still has a lot of people carrying his slack, though.
He does, but come on, you can't deny him in that butcher scene where he went in there by himself and he soloed most of those guys.
Oh no, that scene was giving me total Matrix vibes too. I loved it. Yeah,
he picked up dude calmly and stuck him on the meat hook and stuff like. So yeah, he shows that he's a soldier when he needs to be and stuff. But yes, he's not above ordering people to execute.
I mean, it's easy to be a soldier when you're a Super Skrull.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's almost like, I mean, think about it. It's like having Captain America's powers when you're a general. You want to play now too. You have all these powers. You're not going to sit on the sidelines and just order your troops in. You're going to lead them because you that's kind of, and not saying anything about the Red Hulk and who's going to be playing them, and as far as leading their troops in and not doing things from the sidelines, but Thaddeus Ross. But we can talk about that later. But anyway, so they have this conversation and stuff. They go sit in there, in the diner part of the museum, and he's drinking tea, Gravik, with tons of sugar. I don't get the sugar connection. We see him dumping like cubes of sugar in earlier in like episode 1. Here he's like trying to pour all the sugar into I think he just loves sugar, and he uses liquid as a delivery agent for his sugar and stuff. Like,
I was reading somewhere too that someone made a comparison on how he makes his whatever he's drinking today, it's like super sweet.
Yeah.
But whenever Fury orders a drink, it's very straight cut, dry.
Oh yeah, black coffee.
He's like black instead of that. So there, and then you mentioned, not to go a little bit back, but you mentioned the dog reference. Mm-hmm. It's funny how the dog reference conversation happened with a conversation between the Grand Circle and Gravik, but then also Talos and Fury. They're doing a lot of parallel conversations, not parallel conversations, but parallel like ideas of conversations. Yeah, between either Fury and a Skrull or Skrulls amongst the Skrulls, which I'm really liking, and I like how it's just peppered in there. It's not really a key point unless you catch it.
It just adds another layer.
Yep, absolutely.
To take David's word there.
No, it does. Absolutely. And, and right before, and then Gravik, he threatens Talos's daughter, and because Talos is basically, I'm not Talos, sorry, Gravik is really just saying humans are scum. Really, he's doing the Matrix thing with Agent Smith and stuff, and Talos is saying like, no, humans are, when you put them, they can be very dangerous. You put them in a situation where their backs are against the wall. There's nothing more dangerous than them, especially when they have a common enemy. And they will hunt you guys down like this.
But Gravik is saying that like humans are murderers. Like all they do is kill. However, he just told Talos, be grateful I haven't brought your daughter back to you in a body bag yet.
Yep. He's
leaving scroll bodies everywhere and he doesn't care.
Nope.
But you know what I found really weird about that? You know how Pagan, he keeps like the scientist lady, the doctor, whatever she is, that's supposed to be working on the machine or serum or whatever it is that they're doing. She keeps saying, or he's telling her, Gravik sent me here. Gravik sent me here. Gravik sent me here. Do we think there's a possibility that Gravik wants to be the Super Scroll and not share with the other Scrolls?
Of course.
Because he doesn't want to be overthrown. He doesn't want anybody to have ideas like Gaia is having ideas. Like,
So Pagan, I think it shows the dynamic between the cultist and the cult leader. Like the cultists believe in the mission. They believe in what they're doing and everything else. The cult leader is all about the power and keeping that power. He may have started out as a purist, a true believer, like, hey, we're gonna make this our home. Humans are horrible. They're the ones who betrayed us. This is our planet to take over everything. It started out that way. Then it turned into this consolidating power and stuff. Where with Pagan, he's a loyalist. It's all about making a home for the Skrulls. It's all about the mission. It's all about that and stuff. So
they made a point of saying that too when they had him talking to Beto.
Yep. So I don't think he knows that that Gravik took the Super Skrull serum or however they convert them into Super Skrull, because he believed that this was going to be a shared thing so they can help further the mission and take over. No. That was a power thing for Gravik. I believe that 100%, and it's going to be revealed as that. So,
and I think at that point is when Pagan returns back to Talos, or like and says like, "No, I'm fighting Talos's mission and not Gravik's."
And we can see. I think Pagan drank the Kool-Aid, so he's very much into that cult right now.
But I think he's going to start seeing like how Gaia slowly started. Like Gaia was fully vested as well.
Yep.
And then she started to see the breadcrumbs, and she started to sneak around and see things for what they were and not what was being presented to her, not what was being served to her. I think that's going to be happening for Pagan as well.
And I think Pagan's going to realize when he hears about Gaia. I think that's going to be the catalyst. Say, wait a minute, what?
Does it really? Because like he just took Brogan out back and like shot him dead.
Yeah, but I feel like I hear something like, I don't know how to describe it, but there's just something I think he saw in her, and I think he was jealous because kind of like what David said, there's the cult leader and then there's the other guy. And I think it was more of a, I'm going to be better than you. I know you want what I want. You see what I see, but I will be that person. And then when he finds out, I don't know if we're talking about it now, what Gravik did to Gaia, I think that's in my wait, what caused you to do that? So I think that might be the catalyst to break. Because
he just has to sell Gaia as a traitor.
Correct. And so here's the thing. Pagan brought in the recruit that was being tortured in the butcher shop. And so Pagan had been the one. That's why Gravik made him take him out and shoot him. And he that was his recruit. So it was almost kind of like a stain on him. Then to find out that it was Gaia and Gravik killed her for, supposedly for that. I don't think that would separate him. I think that would bring him more closer and more disillusioned to the cult leader and stuff like,
especially because he's like, okay, because like Gravik is the one who brought Gaia in.
Yep. Yeah.
So she's his responsibility. Your recruits are your responsibility.
Correct. And I cleaned up mine, and you cleaned up yours and stuff. So I think he would see it as that, not so much as because I don't think he really jived with Gaia all that much anyway. Like he was always kind of somewhat suspicious.
I think it's going to be a display of power by Gravik. It's going to be some kind of like super scroll power that he's like, how in the hell did you just do that?
Correct. Yep.
And it's going to trigger him, and he's going to.
Why don't I have this? And why don't you?
Why do you have me running to all of these corners trying to find these resources, trying to make this happen if you already know how to make it happen?
Right. Yep.
Valid point.
So, and then also, I mean, so I don't want to kind of slide past the point that we saw Gaia do some really slick double agent shit after the museum and the conflict piece with Talos and Gravik. So when Talos left, after all the duplicate Gravik showed themselves and stuff, and so after he left, he gets bumped into by this guy, and this old man gives him, "Oh, you dropped your phone," which was the very phone that Gaia was like typing in the plans when she was listening to Gravik talk about the attack on the UN delegation's plane and stuff like that. And so she, typed in the coordinates and everything else. She turned into that old man, gave her dad the phone through a bump. And then that's why when Gravik walked out shortly after, that old man was kind of like trying to beat the bus to get around the bus.
Yeah, and then thankfully that bus stopped, and Gaia's standing by the car.
She's just standing right there.
I knew that was Gaia instantly, but we never saw Talos go into the phone. We saw Nick Fury tell him the plan, and then call whatever her name is to get information on the Neptune, but we never saw Talos go into the phone.
Yeah. No, they didn't show that. I don't know why. I think there's some more.
Because like Talos was acting like he didn't know like anything about what Nick Fury was saying.
Mm-hmm. He's playing his own little game too. Like they're all.
Everybody's got their own little chessboards going.
Yep, I agree. And it's all. I think the next episode, the next half, is going to start revealing people's real motivations and their real agendas and stuff. And what's going on here?
I was watching a video about Easter eggs for this episode, and the cool thing, the even deeper part on Marvel's half, not necessarily the show itself, but the screenwriting. So the old man that bumps into Talos that goes back when the van passes, he's an old guy standing like 5 feet away from her, on his phone to let you know, like, hey, he didn't lose his phone and he's right there, to kind of sell that more. And it was an Easter egg. I forgot what YouTube channel I found off of, but they showed that. I was like, Did
you freeze?
I think we lost Lou for a second.
Detail on that scene.
Oh, yeah, the detail. Yeah. Sorry, looked like we lost you for a second, Lewis. But yeah, no, I knew. Like, I actually, like, I knew there was no way Gaia was going to let her father walk out of there without making some sort of
Yep.
Yeah. So I knew that was going to come. Where do you want to go next, David?
No, I agree. And I think it was a really cool detail because they didn't really have to show us the real old man, but they did. After the bus scene, you see a guy just leaning up against the car, waiting for Gravik. And there's the old man on the phone and stuff. So she obviously saw him, transformed into him to do the bump, the meet cute.
They had some great writing for that scene too, because the anticipation of Gravik following that old man, to get back. Like I was like, oh shit, she's about to get caught. She's about to get caught, and then all of a sudden that bus comes and like stops it, and you're like, oh, thank goodness, like she has time to get back, because we know it's Gaia. He doesn't know Gaia left the car.
And here's the thing: if the real person wasn't there on his phone that whole time and stuff, he would have thought something was up. Like I just followed the old man, and where's he at? And then here you are sitting outside the car. Oh wait, but there's the old man right there. Like it was really good execution and stuff on the people who wrote that scene. So I that was really cool to see. And so and then they Fury and Talos, they go to this commander's house, that's being heavily guarded and stuff. And we know that guy's a Skrull. Talos, says, I'm going to do this my way. He breaks in by, Fury sitting on the bench waiting and stuff. And, Talos makes it in. And then all of a sudden Fury gets a call and calls Mr. Fury, Nick, saying, hey, he's like, hey, how's everything going? He's like, yeah, Nick, everything's, I got everything under control or something. He says something. And he says Nick. And so
he says, second floor, last door on the right, I think is what he says.
So he makes his way up there, and then Talos being held hostage by the commander.
But Nick Fury knew that, so he grabbed Commander's son on the way.
Yep.
Which I was like, why? So if he's a Skrull, like, is his son a Skrull too?
No. And this is the onion layers I want to talk to you guys about. So this is the part, because there's a scene that happens right after this. So let me finish the scene. He holds the son hostage, and
I remember. Yeah. Okay.
And then obviously he lets the son go when he lets Talos goes, and he still wouldn't give up the whole the password to abort the mission and everything else. So Talos ends up killing him because he's done with this. He's like, I'm fed up with this. And he calls, like, I have another idea. He calls his daughter and says, I need. Well,
actually, he brings up Gaia.
Yeah.
Because Talos told Gravik, don't ever use my daughter's name. He is done with people talking about Gaia. He's done. Oh, yeah. He's in protective daddy mode, knows that she's like teetering on the border of being a double agent at this point. And he's trying to protect her, but he also needs her help.
Yep.
So the commander brings up Gaia and says, or is she the one who's been feeding you information? And that's the point that Talos just like pops a cap in him and he's like, done.
Yep.
Then he calls Gaia and tells Gaia he needs the commander's cancel code. So Gaia goes to where they have all of these humans because they are like taking over the identities of high profile humans.
So they're using
high-profile humans
subterfuge device that is pulling their memories, their experiences, all of their stuff out of them and stuff.
Which is why his son is not a Skrull, because his father is actually in captivity there.
Deep cover. And that is true to the comic book. So that was an ode to how Skrulls, when they go deep cover on somebody and they're able to imprint and take, like, it's almost like you're taking over someone's souls, their memories, their feelings, all that stuff. That is the scene why he was willing to give up Talos, because he really was experiencing love and a scared and everything else for his son. That's not really his son. So the poor kid, his real dad is being held captured, but because he was doing that deep cover and stuff, Skrulls can feel, which I think is going to be a key component. Yep, it's going to be a key component to double agents and everything else, including, I think, a key component to Rhodey. And I hope so, because, oh my God, if Rhodey got switched before Endgame scene where he's at Cap's funeral shedding a tear, or if he got switched before that scene interaction he has with Sam Falcon in Winter Soldier, and that where he's showing the black experience and stuff, I'm like, all that would be for naught. So you have to explain how they can have those shared experiences and not just be faking the funk and stuff. Like, those are real experiences. So I think that little layer show that Skrulls really are, when they're committing to undercover, they are embodying everything, the memories, the nuances, the spirit, all that stuff of the person that they're duplicating. So lots of layers.
But then, like, doesn't that, I mean, that has to be the case, because there is no reason he would have given up Talos for a human at all. No. So that has to be the case, that he is taking on his emotions. Like you said, it happens in the comic books. Yep. But then at what point does the person whose identity they've taken, their memories, at what point does their integrity come into play to where it stops being a mission for Gravik and starts being something for humanity?
Well, So I think it's kind of how like the Black Widows are trained to kind of turn into these drone mindless killer machines and stuff like that, and they're controlled by these set of words that kind of bring them out of their their cover or activate them. Same thing with scrolls and stuff. They get brought out of their deep cover for that mission or whatever.
They have those ceremonies. They have that initial ceremony where they have to say key phrases to receive their body. So that could be at the point where they are imprinting the memories, they are imprinting the emotion, they're imprinting the physical traits, but they're encoding the mission.
Yep.
So I have the mission, but I have all these other components. So that, like you said, like this could be a presentation for double agents to come and play.
Yes.
Because they have to have all of those components fighting within their physical bodies.
So, backtracking a tad bit with that, and to show how just evil Gravik is, what happens if he's using this technology on scrolls that are not for the plan? So imagine, remember when Fury, his wife, going back, because I'm not letting that settle, but what if there's another scroll impersonating
Priscilla?
Fury's wife? So it's not the scroll. So he knows, but it's not the true scroll he knows would be impersonating his wife.
I didn't think of that.
I mean, well, the fact that, so when he was kissing her, he knew it wasn't his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can tell that he knew something was off. She was either hiding something from him or she wasn't herself, because you could see, you saw his brain spinning when he kissed her. So I like that, Lewis.
It would be intense to know that Gravik is not only using this imprinting technology for
Fury wouldn't be
scrolls
able to know.
And then to find out because it almost seems like every bad story where it's like, hey, they're using this technology on their own as well.
So I'm going to take that for a second, though, and I'm going to disagree and say that the scrolls have to submit to it. They have to be willing. They have to be for the cause
they do.
For it to work. But that does not mean that Gravik does not have the actual Vera, if we're saying she's not, for his cause, somewhere in one of his warehouses, and there's another person playing Vera.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Infiltrate Nick.
There could absolutely be a fake Vera, Priscilla.
Because she's not shown her. Nick Fury would recognize her in scroll form. Mm-hmm. Because he has seen her in scroll form. Mm-hmm. She's not shown herself in scroll form. She's shown herself in human form.
Mm-hmm. And she changed right before he showed up.
Yeah. Which she didn't need to do because she knows Nick Fury. That was,
I want to go back and watch that scene and compare the who we see her as scroll form and that scene where she's bringing Gravik to him. I want to go see if it's the same scroll.
Yeah. I think there might be.
We will report back on this.
double agent stuff happening. I didn't even think about her being just a double agent. Not her, being a duplicate. Somebody replaced her. She's being captive or held.
It's one of the. It's either she's a double agent or there's or she's a duplicate.
And it would make sense. It'd be the perfect way for Gravik to get at Nick.
But wait a second. But if she's taking Vera's identity, she would also have Vera's emotion.
No, because she's a scroll. Vera's a scroll.
I was saying that would explain her connection to Nick still, Nick Fury. And why she's it could be she's backing out of it now. She's pulling into herself because she's oh, he's here. And now she has feelings about it. So you don't think that it would work if they had a scroll under the same control?
I don't think so. I don't. I don't.
We're going so far down the rabbit hole.
We are.
I love it.
There's a lot of unknowns for that to work, and what we've seen so far, that's definitely a humanistic thing, like they did on Captain Marvel, where we first saw it. So it's really the humans that they're doing this on. They're not doing this on other scrolls.
But Gravik has zero zero compassion or respect for other scrolls. He's already shown us that.
No,
So could he be trying the technology on other scrolls now, which is something that Talos would not have allowed before?
That would be a big reveal that they can do that mind thing, imprinting on other scrolls. Then yes, that would be a really big reveal.
This is probably not the case, but it's still fun. It's still fun to like jump down the rabbit hole and be like, but what if?
No, I agree. What ifs are fun, and that could be the case. I would hate for that to be the case, because it really shows scrolls really aren't that like I like the one way thing, like this is a defect in human physiology that they're able to kind of pull and embody this and stuff. So,
but if scrolls and humans are to coexist at any point, does that add some neutrality to it?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of no one knows what I think it's too messy. I think it's too messy. Layers. Yeah, that's too much.
It's too oniony.
It is. That's way too much. That's too much onions. Like now we're at the point where I'm having bad breath. Like I think it's too much.
I have heartburn. I need some Tums.
Yes. So yeah. So she does that. So now we get to the point where she is finding the commander's person who's in that that machine. She's looking at his dreams and his history, which they were showing flashbacks of him and the kid playing ball, and so that's where he was like, Zachary is the code. And so she calls him back like, Zachary, and he says it, and then that was the code word. That is the only reason that layer was really, really good. I would hate the fact that they would add another layer that they can do it to the scroll.
But I am going to say is really, really stupid for a naval commander to use his son's name as the abort mission cancel code.
Yes.
Like, how stupid do you have to be to use your damn kid's name? Like, David, you're an IT guy.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Should people use their kids' names as passwords?
I would have brought it. He would have been court-martialed. I would have 100% in the military. He would have been court-martialed. Like, are you really stupid? Are you serious? You're gonna use your kids. You're gonna use your wife's name. You're gonna use your favorite sports team.
Your dog's name.
Like, really, these are default hacker things we go to. Like, let's go through the basic list before you let the computer starts breaking out the codes and stuff. It's like, well, what's the dogs? What's the past? Who's his parents? Blah, blah, blah. Middle names, all that stuff. Oh, got it on the 8th one. It was his son's name. Boom. We don't need this expensive software to hack things. So, yes, dumbest thing ever. He should be court-martialed. He's not dead. He's being.
I was gonna say, wait. In this day and age, it should require Face ID, but that doesn't matter because they're scrolls.
Yeah. Yep. That one. Yeah, we get bypast that anyway and stuff. So yeah. So now that her cover is pretty much blown because she really had to put herself in situations that you saw the screen come up for the one girl who Gravik said, like, we couldn't have done this without you. Like when he came back from the Moscow explosion or the council meeting. Yes.
You saw her get the notification that there was a communication breach.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure she's the one that tipped off Gravik.
Yep.
Who then was waiting for Gaia.
So Gaia was making her great escape. Go ahead.
I like where you're going with that, Sam. But at the beginning of the episode, he goes in that room where she was sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And he says nobody else knew this. So, because I saw that too, I was like, "Oh, that's probably who tipped him off." But I was like, "No, he knew what he was doing at the beginning of this episode when he says nobody else knew that information except us." Oh, well, how do you know? He could have heard. She gives her spiel. Okay, then he drops the NATO information to her directly.
Yeah, why is
it? Oh, he told her. He told her.
Yeah, that was a purposeful trap. Yes.
Yeah. But
also, I think that he's the one who tipped off the safe house because then he had a reason to test her.
She tipped off the safe house because she was talking in Russian. Yeah, she was talking in Russian.
Oh,
we don't see that conversation other than she's saying something in Russian. So it was either him.
Oh, I missed that.
So, yeah, it was either a hostage, which we know it wasn't, or because we saw that interaction, he didn't give up anything. He was talking about the experiment, and they're doing something weird. And so it hadn't been her.
I forgot she went around the back of the building and started talking in Russian. Yeah. Nope, that's right.
He set that up from the beginning of the episode, and I think we're about to talk about it. And that's why the scene that happened, as evil as it sounds, I was like, yes, hell yeah. I was stoked to see what happened to Gaia. I'm going to be very honest.
Gravik's not a dummy. So he challenged her a little bit. And she's like, "Hey, I'm a good liar." She basically was trying to give back what he was given to her and stuff, and they got nowhere. Kind of a stalemate because he didn't really get anything but suspicion, and then that's where Gravik laid the trap.
Okay, so is Gaia dead?
Do I think Gaia is dead?
What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
No.
If she's not dead, if I find out she's not dead, I'm done watching.
She's not dead. I mean, it shows in the previews. Is. No, there's so many more scenes unless they cut a huge chunk of the shows and stuff. There's a lot more scenes that they're showing in the previews of her, including her doing in the machine where it's going off and everything else in that room and stuff. So yeah,
we did get to see that. So you know what? She's been snooping around, so she put herself through it because she knew she was going to need to be competition. I like it, David. I'm going with that too. I was going to say she's dead because then it gives that like a bigger revenge aspect to Talos, but he doesn't need a bigger revenge aspect. He's already got it. He's already like I'm done with Gravik. Like we're doing this. So he doesn't need a revenge aspect to make him fight harder.
He's not going to get one. She is. So the Marvel, what was
and
it?
He just left her there.
Yep. So she's gonna. So they're gonna do the female Avenger trope, which is a female in the scene that dies and gives that extra push to motivation. We're gonna get the reverse. I believe Talos is going to die, and his daughter, who's a super Skrull, because she was deep cover. She was following the threads of what was going on. She's going to get the motivation, and it's going to be a arc between her and Gravik. It's not going to be Gravik and Nick Fury. It's going to be Gaia and Gravik, two super Skrulls going at it and stuff, because Talos is getting killed by Gravik.
All right, so I have two things in that. If Gaia is not dead, they better really play that shit out really well. Not like, as soon as Gravik rolled away, Talos rolled up. Like, that's how, he was just there, the perfect timing to sit. No, they better really sell that. But if she does come back, then I'm putting to rest that Maria Hill is actually dead, and it becomes kind of like what you were saying, a Gaia, Talos, and Gravik story.
I think
Nick Fury is playing the backseat, because right now, I don't think you're going to have, with only 3 episodes left, you need the next episode to really forget about Gaia, bring her back in episode 4. I mean, I don't see a really solid moment now at this point for Maria Hill to make that grand entrance, because now, if they are bringing Gaia back, they have to do that. So I don't think they're going to do a Fast and the Furious where no one actually dies, everyone comes back. So if that's the case, I see Gaia coming back and the final result being Maria Hill is gone.
I am going to say Maria Hill is gone. And I'm going to say that scene with her mama solidified it. Because if they're going to put someone's mama through that is cold. Like,
it has to be believable.
But like, how could Maria do that? Like, how can you do that to your mama? Like, I couldn't do that to my mama. I get it, but I don't get it. Like, it's cold.
Maria Hill and both Nick Fury know about the Skrulls, and they know that there's this faction of Skrulls who are infiltrating and mimicking humans to take over. You can't operate without you have to be a ghost. You have to. Meaning your loved ones have to believe that you're dead. You think Mama Hill is going to be able to act like her daughter's dead and do all that? Because who knows who's a Skrull?
No, I get that.
Everything has to be believable.
But okay, be believable with that. How does this show really come back saying, hey, Hill and Gaia are not dead, how does this show do that? Because I feel like if somebody, I mean, because the first episode, Hill's gone. Mm-hmm. We still don't know what happened to Ross. How long has that Ross been a Skrull, or has it been the entirety? Then they're killing off Gaia. I mean, there's a lot of key characters that were killed off. So obviously someone's going to live. But I feel like if you decide to bring Hill and Gaia back, you really got to bring them back in a way that really helps them. And since everybody's against Fury, and I love the chess acronym you always do.
Who would be the perfect person to take over for Fury?
Hill.
Yep,
Hill.
Because Nick Fury's done. I'm sorry. Like, he's literally wheezing, going to sit on a park bench. Like,
I think after Armor Wars, his replacement is also going to be a part of Armor Wars, which is going to have. I don't see anyone else but Maria Hill taking the mantle.
I mean, you could have said Coulson, but Coulson's gone.
Yeah,
like those are the two people.
And with that, then I'm going to go the opposite and say Don Cheadle's not a Skrull, and he steps into the ranks.
I don't think he. I honestly don't think that I do not think that he is the right fit for that kind of leading position. He's political.
Yeah.
He wants to do things right, and he wants to do things by the book.
But at the same time, we're also forgetting too, we got Brave New World, which is playing on the political strings coming up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's going to shake the hornet's nest anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
so
his loyalty is to the United States. It's
Rhodey is too visible and wants that like he War Machine is Flash, not to the extent of Iron Man, but he's a patriot. Like, that's why he had the red, white, and blue Iron Man suit and stuff. Like he wants to be known as that and stuff. Nick Fury doesn't care about that. He loves the shadows. He loves being the man on the wall. He loves
to be that kind of leader, like the new Shield or whatever it is now.
That.
Like Saber. Is it Saber now?
Yeah.
Saber.
So yeah, it's Saber. Sword is the organization. Saber is the actual space base.
Yeah.
That's in.
So either way, like it's Nick Fury has always moved in the shadows. It's got to be somebody with like the ability to be out of the public eye, and it
can't be Sharon Carter because she's an enemy of America, and she's also.
What about this new the Russian lady that we're talking about?
She's Russian. She's not American.
I mean, is Nick Fury really American? If he pumps out to be like some other alien species, I'm just saying.
Okay, that's not going to happen, Nick Fury. Okay, and there's at least one of the Nick Furies that we're experiencing right now is American. But no, it has to be an American. And I like where David is going with this because Rhodey was literally sent to the United Nations to be the face of the American people.
Right. Yeah. He's so much in the public eye and stuff. He doesn't have the espionage. He doesn't
have the luxury to move behind the scenes without people watching everything he does.
So then I'm gonna throw this out there. Everything's on the table. You have all the tools in the MCU toolbox. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go Sam first, then David. How do you bring Maria Hill back where it makes sense to the story? Because obviously you could just bring her back and say she was never really dead. But how do you bring her back in this show or even as a cliffhanger where it makes sense? Because, again, and this we could see Nick Fury play his cards this next episode, but right now he's up against the ropes, even though we believe he's not.
I say you see her shoot the fake Nick Fury, which is the reason.
But
how do you unroll that story that she was never dead?
She just fucking shows up. She's fucking Maria Hill.
Yeah, So this is how you do that. Okay.
Sean's gonna have to work this explicit. Sorry, Sean.
Nick is going to be put in a situation where he has to start uncovering these espionage chess pieces, including maybe his wife, including Rhodey,
himself.
His doppelganger, all of these pieces and stuff. And you do that from the outside looking in, and how he figures out, because this is how I see it. Nick is going to play the calm, cool, I got all your numbers and stuff. Like, you ain't fooling me. Like, my wife, you ain't fooling me. Like, it's almost gonna be like The Godfather. You know, like how The Godfather goes to his child's christening while all of this stuff in the background starts happening and stuff. That these moves and stuff that he set up, these pieces. Maria Hill is those pieces. Everyone thinks she's dead, so no one's.
I mean, it can't be the Skrulls anymore. It can't be the Skrulls setting up the pieces for him.
Correct.
And he's not setting them up himself because he's busy. And
a Skrull can't duplicate a dead person. So right now he has an advantage over that. When you have a highly trained spy who can't be duplicated, who can also watch and see and feed Nick Fury information and stuff. He's her ears right now. She is his ears right now. She is his eyes behind the scenes. She's a ghost. Literally just kind of looking and seeing and putting pieces together, and it's going to get revealed in some big way that Nick Fury is going to uncover something he should not be able to because he has a cheat advantage. He has a ghost in Maria Hill who is still on the playing field.
And then I think we see a fight scene at some point, and Maria shows up and takes out the fake Fury.
Yep.
Because that's who tried to take her out, was a fake Fury.
Yeah. And Fury's going to make a joke about, like, how do you know that wasn't the real me? And she's going to say some smart ass and stuff. I mean, because that's how that banter.
I mean,
and then they're going to hug, yeah.
I like it, but I mean, I feel like bringing Maria Hill and Gaia back, for me, just especially how dark and sci-fi they really are, not like spy they're going this, I feel like it kind of breaks the integrity of the show, because then it's like, again, and we talked about this before on other Marvel episodes where the villains are never the villains because it just seems like the heroes always have an upper hand. And I feel like that would really take the darkness away from this show. Like it has the same darkness right now Infinity War had. When you saw everybody turn to dust and the credits ran, you're like, what the fuck? Are they actually lost in a way?
But we're saying Talos is going to be gone.
Let me tell you. I mean, Here's. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I get what you're saying, but here's where I see the difference, the disconnect. Nobody is emotionally attached to Gaia. She's really isn't. I mean, we saw a little bit of her in Captain Marvel as a little child, and that's it. Like, Infinity War had people like these were main characters who got dusted. That was a whoa, what the hell. With her, she's just a character. She's a character. We don't know what the future of her is going to be in future phases. We don't, because I don't know what their plans are for her. So I think, and she's a little too old to be part of the Young Avenger piece and stuff like that. But maybe not. She could be. She could be the Super Skrull that's a part of the Young Avengers that maybe takes a leadership role and stuff.
I mean, honestly, she could just remain an anti-hero too.
And do her own thing and stuff and totes both lines and stuff. I mean, we got Deadpool coming. He's an anti-hero. He does his own thing, comes up to team ups when he needs to or it's convenient for him. She could take on that role as well too. She doesn't have to be that quintessential good
she
person.
Could be a Dark Avenger.
She could. She could also get approached by Valerie.
Valentina.
Val recruits her and stuff, saying, "Hey, we have a spot for you on our team."
Yeah,
I would love to see that happen and stuff. So,
you guys have won me over that one of the two are coming back. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're both coming back
for you.
And I think, and again, going back to how I normally think, if I'm going outside of the MCU and looking at business wise, Maria Hill has had her time. They're like, all right, and then Gaia being the new actor, they probably got her booked up for a few movies or shows. If I'm placing a bet on it, I'm saying Gaia comes back and Maria Hill has rode off into the sunset.
Here's why I think Maria Hill is alive, and it really comes down to disrespect. The amount of work and effort she put in to the Marvel universe, her character and everything else, for her to get shot like that, like a dog in that front scene and stuff, that's hella disrespectful to the character. No character. It's almost like, Owen Wilson's character in Loki. If the next season Loki comes in and Owen Wilson gets like his head chopped off by King the Conqueror, and then that's it, and they continue with the storyline, and we just watched Mobius just get killed right off the bat in a stupid manner by being whatever the disrespect to off that character
without
that
getting
way,
his jet ski, mind you.
There's no way they did that. There's no way they killed her that way. She got shot like a dog in the street. Like,
Speaking of dogs, David, that was the first thing David and I said when we were talking about it. We said they did Maria dirty.
Yeah, but that would. And I agree, they did, but that would give that vengeance for Fury to keep pushing, because if she comes back and shoots the fake Fury, unless we find out that all the times Fury seemed belittled in the show was a fake Fury, but if there's not a doppelganger Fury, and we find out the Skrulls carried him, the Avengers carried him, Maria Hill carried him, I feel like that does disjustice to Fury. And that really, he couldn't do it without all the other pieces. And really, who is he? Everybody else did the work. So I feel like that same thought process if she comes back, has to save Fury's ass. Like, really, I mean, it really takes the integrity from Fury away.
I don't disagree with that. And it is what it is, how I mean, like, there's always going to be, they retooled this character so much and stuff that could be true, right? But I can't. If they did do this and Maria is dead, I'm going to tell you right now, it just took the number one stupidest death in the entire Marvel universe. It took the mantle. Because you know who currently holds the mantle right now? Freaking Scarlet Witch's brother, who got shot. He's a speedster, and he got shot. The dumbest death in the MCU. If Maria Hill really is dead, she just topped that for me. Mr. Nerdy comic book fan, that is the dumbest for a spy, a world-class galactic spy, get shot down in the street in Russia
by a
like
fake
a dog. That's the dumbest death I've seen of a character that's being developed.
I will agree with you 100%. Not only that, Sammy mentioned her coming back and shooting the fake Nick Fury. If she couldn't tell the fake Nick Fury when she got shot, how is she going to do it again?
Because her and Nick Fury have been communicating and they have planned for it.
I mean, it's yeah.
I literally cannot think of a single person currently in the MCU that could take over Sword and Saber.
No. She's ripe to take it over. She is.
She has been around since like the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
For what we know and have heard and have seen in the MCU, outside of comics, for what they have set up in the MCU, I don't see anybody else either. But then again, once we see, I'm assuming the Marvels will be touching on it a lot. Once we see what the route they're going, I may have a different person. But right now, of what they've made us to believe, Maria Hill is that person. But then again, if she is gone,
we've got more movies coming. So yeah. Like, we do know that Nick Fury is actually going to retire at some point because man's getting old. He is human. He is not superhuman. So at some point he has to be done, and he's going to have a replacement. But it has to be somebody with similar capabilities, similar espionage skills, similar ability to be stealth and move in the shadows and acquire intel.
What about the guy right here?
Well, and then the only other person that would have came close would have been Sharon Carter, but she got revealed as a villain. That's her thing and stuff. And she wasn't. And here's the thing: why I like Sharon Carter and that relationship that Cap.
If you could just see my face when he said Ross, I like Lewis. I love you, but if I could slap you through the screen, I would have.
I mean, not Thunderbolt Ross, the Ross that is apparently
Agent Ross. Agent Ross. No, he doesn't have Fury's skill set. He got. I mean, he would have been dead and paralyzed if it wasn't for T'Challa and Shuri. I mean, he's a
goober. He's a goober.
We got 3 more episodes to see if Hill's coming back.
Ross is a step below Coulson. I'll just say that. In the ranking of spies and agents and stuff, I have to say Maria Hill, Sharon Carter, Coulson, Agent Ross.
Yep, I absolutely agree with that.
Yep. And so
Ross is a goober. Like he's a goober.
He's a Boy Scout. He doesn't have it to be that. I mean, I'm sure that's why Valentina left him. I mean, he doesn't have it in him to kind of do that.
Then it must be a soft spot for me because I think Ross is tight as shit in the movies. Every time he pops up, I'm like,
don't get me wrong.
Yes,
I love the Boy Scout.
He just doesn't have the skill set. Like, he's loyal to a fault.
Yep.
You know that he's going to have your back, but does he have the skill set to step in place as a leader?
Yep.
No, like he takes direction. He doesn't give it, which is probably why his relationship with Valentina didn't work.
And look at it this way, and I love Agent Ross, but Fury has this coolness factor to where the Avengers they absolutely respect his bravado and how he comes across. Do you think you see him pulling together Thor and bossing around the Tony Stark and like they coming to like no,
he'd be like,
Ross does not have that factor.
Hey guys.
Yes, he does.
Anybody want to share my snacks? But you did just mention something that made me really excited because I forgot that we didn't bring this up. So when Rhodey and Fury are having that little powwow, he goes, "Should we call in our friends?"
Yeah. Yep.
And he goes, "No, I need to do this."
Mm-hmm.
And that's what sets Rhodey off.
Yep.
Because Rhodey's like, "You can't do it alone. You're fired."
Mm-hmm.
So who were his friends?
Yeah, the Avengers. Rhodey wanted. He wanted Fury to call in the Avengers because he's a Skrull and he wants those Avengers to be captured so they can be getting their powers taken from them too.
Exactly. And Fury knows that. He knows that they would be the most dangerous possession for Gravik to have.
I'm just going to hand over my
Gravik already has some type of plan up his sleeve. We have yet to see. Well, I think we're seeing it now, the Super Skrull. But he's sitting there staring when they said the Avengers come back, and they said, "You don't think I have a plan for that?" So, I actually touched on this last episode that Rhodey wants them to come back so that way they can get more, not necessarily copy them, but get DNA from them to become them plus something else.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they want to trap the Avengers and take their powers and stuff like that.
They toss them in those machines. They take all of their memories and then they have them in a submissive state that they can take their DNA, that they can run experiments on them. Mm-hmm. They can portray themselves as them. Like, obviously, I don't, David, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not going to get their superhuman abilities by taking over their identities.
Nope. They can.
So they get their memories, emotions.
They have to do whatever. So it used to be in the comics, they had to be the ritual piece, and then they use dark magic and everything else and stuff. In this MCU, they're using the machine with DNA splicing and everything else.
Canon events.
So you can't just capture them and then take over, which is why my out there bonkers theory I'm still holding on to, that Bruce Banner is a Skrull. And here's the precedent for that. I did some research to reinforce what I said. There is a Skrull who is called Hulken. Hulken is, just like I said, he's part Hulk and part Skrull. Now, he's not related to Banner, but he is a teenage version of the Incredible Hulk, but in Skrull Hulk hybrid form. Who else is a teen? Have we seen a teenage Hulk where we don't know who his mom is or anything?
Are you talking about his son?
Scar, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
we did see him, didn't we?
And the Marvel loved remixing stuff from the comics and stuff and surprising us with new things. I would love, because I would love that Professor Hulk is this hybrid imitation Hulk that we didn't get the reason why he did this to himself, other than a conversation in the diner. The best of both worlds. Isn't it great with this cheesy ass grin, personality and stuff? Like, no, that's a Skrull Hulk. I want to believe it to my core, because then when the real Hulk gets free or get loose, it turns into World War Hulk. And it sets the premise now that Disney owns the rights to the Incredible Hulk solely to make a solo movie. So I want it to happen so bad. I want the Ed Norton version. We don't need the actor, but I want the Ed Norton version of the Hulk to come back into the MCU. And I really want to believe that the Hulk that was on the planet the Grandmaster's planet was the Skrull who was posing as the Hulk and stuff, and talking like a toddler and doing all this other stupid shit. So
hey, dude.
Yeah. So and don't get me wrong, I like Hulk. I like Professor Hulk too. I just would love the Rage Monster to come back, not this meditative person that there is.
We already saw meditation doesn't work. Look at Abomination.
Yeah. And what if that was the key to the DNA thing? Is this Skrull hybrids, Hulk blood and stuff like that? Like, it got into She-Hulk and stuff. That's why she can transform at will. She doesn't need to be angry. She doesn't need the Hulk. I mean, she can rage anytime. She can change into She-Hulk at a whim and stuff. I mean, and technically she's kind of stronger than Professor Hulk in a sense. Because I don't think Professor Hulk is the real Hulk. I think he's a Skrull. So, but I don't know. I know I'm out there. I dug this huge rabbit hole, and I'm trying to build a basis to make
foundation.
I'm trying to
fill the foundation of his rabbit hole.
It's okay. I do that week to week, so it's all right.
I think we did that all night tonight.
Yeah, but Hulken. Look up Hulken. He is part Hulk, part Skrull, and I'll just say that.
So you want to do Hulken for our next Marvel Minute?
We could. Actually, I will. I'll do Hulken. Yes.
All right.
So overall, score for the show.
Scoring the show, I'm giving this a 9. I was at 8.5 for the last two. I'm at a 9 because, one, they mentioned Super Skrull. And I told you, if they said Super Skrull or did anything at the last time we did this, it's going up. So I'm staying true to my word. It's a 9 for me.
I'm going to go 8.5. 8.5. But I'm right there with you, David. And not only did we get to hear Super Skrull, we also got to see a Super Skrull.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Solidifying that the power to do so is there. They figured out the science when we saw it with Gravik. So I'm going to go 8.5. What about you, Lou Knight?
So I was sitting in a 7.5.
Went down to Wednesday.
But I rewatched it, and I'm at 8.5 because it would be hypocritical of me to not give this show the credit that it deserves, that I complain about every time there's a Marvel show, that at the halfway point it just starts teetering off. Well, this one has been consistent, gradually getting better and better. Now, if episode 4 in 48 hours drops the ball, I'm going to be pissed because then it's Marvel's at it again. Or if they rush the project. And that's what I'm worried about because they haven't given us a whole lot.
They have been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm nervous. If anything, give us a cliffhanger with a date that says season 2's coming December 2023. Like, all right, I'll give you that.
I don't want a season 2. Oh, I really don't. I want it to be a one and done. It informs the movie, the cinematic universe and stuff. I want whatever the events happen here to inform the phases and stuff. I don't want a season 2 of this.
I agree. I think at this point, the only thing that I want a second season of is... Well, oh yeah, I forgot about Moon Knight. I do want Moon Knight, but Loki season 2. I want
Moon Knight and Loki.
Loki season 2 and Moon Knight aren't really informing aren't informing the cinematic universe. Like they are their own entities at this point. They are not carrying the weight for the movies.
I would be okay if Moon Knight just stayed a Disney Plus special and really never made its introduction in the MCU. I mean, you have him in 3s. You don't need to introduce him to more people. I mean, you can. There are obviously ways you can. Mm-hmm. But you got him, himself, and himself. Like, you can have plenty of television stuff just with that.
So here's the thing. All of the other Disney Plus shows have been to inform us about people who are joining the Dark Avengers or the Young Avengers. Mm-hmm. So, like, Ms. Marvel, we don't need another season of that. We know where she's going. Yep. Falcon and the Winter Soldier don't need another season of that. Mm-hmm. We got introduced to Nathaniel. We know
Falcon. Yep.
Falcon. We know that is it Iron Patriot?
Patriot.
Right?
Patriot. Yep. Isaiah's son.
Isaiah Bradley.
Yep.
Yeah. So we know like that's coming. So when we see him in the movies, we're already informed. We're not going to be like, what the hell is this? Like we already figured that out. Moon Knight. We're not seeing Moon Knight in the Dark Avengers. We're not seeing Moon Knight in the Young Avengers. He needs his own entity right now. Loki's Loki. Loki does his own freaking thing. He's going to show up everywhere that they can, but he doesn't fit into a niche.
Well, and I love that Loki is playing the behind the scenes. Like, well, here's the battle. It's like that scene where Ant-Man runs through Iron Man's suit. He's reenacting that. He's running through the suit of time and just messing with stuff, trying to fix stuff. Who knows what's going to happen in season 2? And I think that's the perfect spot for Loki now, where we still get that fix.
Like so Loki is actually setting us up for way more of the Kang story.
Mm-hmm.
So we need that season 2 of Loki, but also they could keep going as long as they freaking want with Loki and the TVA. And I would absolutely love it because, like I said, it informs itself. It doesn't have to inform the movies. It just informs a really freaking cool storyline.
So I do think that Loki will provide some Easter eggs for one. Obviously, we already know King the Conqueror, so that piece. It's not going to be directly informing because these are variants and stuff. So the main king may not be the one that's in Loki, so which is fine because you can keep that off to the side. But I also think it's going to do another Easter egg in form of Deadpool. I think there's going to be some pieces with that timeline and what Deadpool's doing, and he's going to different, and he's screwing stuff. Whatever Deadpool 3 is going to be about, I think Loki's going to have some Easter eggs relating to that as well this season and stuff. And that's it. But I think that's it. I don't think it's going to be a continuation of the movie, and it's going to pick up like how Vision, WandaVision is for Doctor Strange or anything like that. So.
Honestly, by introducing the TVA through Loki, they did themselves a huge service because anytime they need to introduce a character and they don't know how to introduce it, run it through the TVA.
Yep. It's like Marvel took the blueprint of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and said, okay, hold my soda. We're going to do it better. And
they're like, we're not doing Terrigenesis with mutants. Here we go. We've got time control. We've got timelines, which in the comic books, we all know is accurate. Different Earths, different timelines.
Absolutely.
So I think they did themselves a huge service by introducing the TVA when they did.
Mm-hmm. And with a perfect character, too.
Literally. Like, he's got a mischief.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think those are the only two season 2s I'm actually really looking forward to. On top of What If, but we all know What If is not a part of anything. It's not
canon.
No, it's just a play on like, hey, what if?
Which the What If comics are some of my favorite comics.
I do too. I like them too. I like them. They take those liberties to kind of.
Is it not? Because I mean, you got Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
With What If? I mean, you got Captain America as Peggy Carter.
Do we count it as canon?
It's not canon in this sense. Okay, so the evil Doctor Strange, while yes, they featured evil Doctor Strange in What If.
That's just a variant of his character.
Correct. It's a variant of his character and stuff.
But the actual events are not canon.
No.
So it's more just bad timing when they released that show
No,
Doctor Strange.
It's just showing you that we can take existing characters and add new characters and do all these kind of weird little switcheroos and changes and everything else that doesn't affect the main universe. That's the whole premise of the What If. Even though we'll see like we never saw evil Doctor Strange prior to What If. So there's that correlation that they're the same, but they're not. They're not the same. It's just a variant and stuff. And just like within Multiverse of Madness and stuff, there was a couple of evil Doctor Strange variants. the Illuminati killed one of them and stuff. So
the events that happened in What If, we are not ever going to see referred to in something that's canon.
No,
gotcha.
Because it's just something it's a fan favor.
Gotcha.
Even when we get Marvel Zombies and stuff, and that's going to be shot in the vein of like a Werewolf by Night. It's going to be kind of a one-off thing, not really a part of the Marvel universe and stuff. It's just a one-off, which I love. That I love special presentations by Marvel. It really just kind of taking a slice of the world and segregating it off and just running with its own little thing.
And honestly, they have so many possibilities for that because they're literally informing from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes them a fan favor, because they are informing the fun things that are like, as a comic book nerd, you geeked out over those things. You're like, oh, like the Hulk is up against like Spider-Man. What? So they are doing those as a fan favor. They are not events that tie into the canon events of the MCU.
Nope.
Albeit the characters may exist as variants somewhere because the TVA has been introduced and we have the multiverse of madness and we know about multiple timelines or infinite timelines.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that we got to see a little bit more of Killmonger's character and really his true character of what he would do and stuff. Because it answered the what if piece of that. Like, if he didn't really get killed in Black Panther and stuff, like could he have been a hero? Like people can relate to him. Nah, that dude, given the opportunity, he would try out to be a hero and then turn out to do his own thing. His selfish motivations and stuff. But we got to see that play out. A different version, different variant and stuff. Not canon to what's happening on the cinematic universe. So
because we're still operating in the same timeline outside of Loki.
Yes.
Outside of what we see in the Loki season. We're all still in the same timeline. I mean, that's going to like obviously we saw some things that were timeline jumping for Multiverse of Madness. And that's what like America Chavez, we got that. But as far as like canon events where major things have happened, it's all been the same timeline.
Yep. Same with Spider-Man. Spider-Man, same. It's on the MCU timeline and how those events are taking place and stuff like that.
That's Earth 626 still, right?
Yes.
Where we are.
No, Earth 199999.
Really?
Yes. I've been saying this from the get-go for forever. The MCU is Earth 199999. 100%. The Doctor Strange, this current planet, the comic book. So this is what Kevin Feige did. Comic book is Earth 616. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is Earth 199999. And I said this even when I got challenged by other Marvel nerds, not you guys. I'm not calling you out, Sam, but some other people, maybe at the DisInsider or something else, calling it's Earth 616 because it's not. And it got canonized on a variety of different ways and stuff like that, including in Spider-Man when they talked about Earth 199999 with Peter Parker and everything else and stuff. So yeah, this Marvel, the MCU universe, and I will pull together all the data and stuff that says this is the cinematic universe is 19999, the comic book universe is 616. So.
Okay, so let's do that for an episode once we're done with Secret Invasions.
I'll prepare my notes. I will bring it.
It's your Secret Invasion.
That's your objective right now. The cancel code is Zachary. Zachary. We're not aborting mission. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to say before we close off for this episode? Because we've already talked for an hour and a half, and I love it. We rabbit hole ourselves all the way into spirals, but
we rabbit hole ourselves back into another rabbit hole. All I know is episode 4 better not let us down.
Agreed.
Don't keep tradition.
Yep. Episode 4 is the linchpin.
Makes or breaks the season.
Yes. Yep. What happens this next episode is extremely important. So yeah, this is the most important episode.
You hear that, Kevin Feige? The tribe has spoken.
Yep. So don't let us down. Nail it. bring it home. Give us more of what the track that you're on. Don't disappoint us. So.
All right. Well, that's all we have for the Marvel Tribe. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you tune into our Walt's Apartment live shows on Wednesday night. Follow us anywhere that you find your podcast at Walt's Apartment. Join us on Patreon if you want to see the live footage of this stream. You also get access to our Discord where we have some really cool chats. So that's all we have. One team, one love.
Did you say something, Sam?
Oh my! I can't. One team, one love.
Did your mic go out again?
The Marvel Tribe.
And we're